Welcome to the Center for Universal Oneness. We are an open, welcoming, spiritual community that supports all faith traditions and invites you to join us on your spiritual journey. We host different speakers each week to guide and inspire us. We are guided by universal principles of acceptance of all that is sacred, and we strive to live in the oneness of love. Please enjoy this presentation.
So let me tell you real quick a little bit about Reverend Jackie. She says, it's our natural impulse to live, to love, and to be loved. That impulse is embedded in our soul. By releasing anything that would block our soul's impulse to evolve and thrive, we enable the natural life-affirming energy of our soul to flow. This is our daily work. Reverend Jackie will be sharing her reflections on what it means to celebrate our soul. And even amidst these challenges, and I think we would all agree it's been challenging lately, but okay, which was the theme of the recent First People of African Descent New Thought Conference in Unity. So I think it will be neat to share that. So a little bit about Jackie in the more distant past. Graduated from Unity Institute and Seminary with a master's in divinity, ordained in 2013, so sneaking up on her 10-year anniversary. She was a senior minister at Unity of Heartland in Olathe until 2018. Enjoys guest speaking at Unity churches and writing for Unity publications. In June of 19, she was elected to serve this 3-year term on the leadership, recruitment, and development team at Unity Worldwide. Also serves as UWM's admissions team and now resides in San Marcos, California. So here she comes from an 8 o'clock time zone instead of the joy of our 10 o'clock time zone. So there you go. Jackie, please tell us what you have.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you, everyone. I am pleased to be here with you again on this bright and shiny morning. Actually, it's a little overcast here right now. But I'd like for us to begin with some beautiful music by Ricky Byers. This music is going to set up our meditation. And so without further introduction, Kyle, if you would play our music. And so we now turn within. We take a deep breath as we prepare for our meditation. We allow our body temples to relax in this sacred moment of light, of love, allowing our souls to just relax in this beautiful moment of community. And so I invite you to take another deep breath with me. And I invite you to close your eyes so as to shut out any distractions from our time of meditation. So we turn within, allowing the beautiful, soulful vibrations of the music to flow through us. And as it continues to flow, we allow the impulse of the soul to animate through our bodies. We allow the breath to take us deeper into a space that is mystical, a space that is divine. From within, we commune with the divine presence. We can see the face of God We can see our true selves at depth. We let our heart begin to see eternity where there is no beginning, there is no end. The face of God is all we see. The pure, sweet essence of our being. We see the depth of our soul, heaven's presence all around us, within us. And now in the silence, we continue to see and feel the sweet essence of our being, aware of heaven's presence in the silence, in the silence. And now as we bring our awareness back into this space, our physical space, we give thanks for the opportunity to commune once again with the divine. And so it is, and so we let it be. And so our next slide begins our message today, our celebration today, celebrating our soul. This message is one of reflection and sharing of my experience just last month at Unity Village. And I will admit that this title, initially the title of my talk was going to be on forgiveness. But as I was experiencing the wonderful connections that I had at the conference, I realized that the talk that I was preparing for you today really needed to go beyond forgiveness to a celebration. Forgiveness is part of what we must do in order to set up the opportunity to celebrate our soul. But celebration is what I truly wanted us to be about today. So again, thank you very much for inviting me. I have always enjoyed being with you. First in person a few years ago, I enjoyed your community. And then when I moved out here to California, guess what? It's 2 hours earlier out here. So, but it's all good. And I've had my caffeine and I'm ready to go. So as Mark was giving the introduction of me, I just want to again reiterate something that he had said that I had shared a couple of weeks ago with Barb. And that is our natural impulse is to live, to love, and to be loved. And that impulse is embedded in our soul. Regardless of our gender, our race, our background, our religious affiliation, our political leanings, we all have a common desire at the soul level. We are one. And of course, I'm sure many of you are saying, well, yeah, Rev Jackie, that we are the Center for Universal Oneness. So tell us something that we don't know. And I will say to you this morning, what I will be sharing is probably nothing that you don't know or have not known, at least at the soul level. But it is my belief that what I will be sharing bears repeating. We possess within our souls, within our God consciousness, the tools to surmount any challenge that life would present to us. And while some challenges are more difficult to deal with than others, and other challenges are easier to deal with than others, we are here to do the work and then to celebrate that work. And we have within us whatever we need in order to do the work. As I noted, I will be sharing reflections with you this morning on what it means to celebrate our souls. But before I get into that sharing of reflections, what I would like to do is share a quote with you, a quote from Elizabeth Lesser. And she said in her book, titled Broken Open, How Difficult Times Can Help Us Grow, this. She says, if we can stay awake when our lives are changing, secrets will be revealed to us, secrets about ourselves, about the nature of life, and about the eternal source of happiness and peace that is always available, always renewable, already within us. In other words, she's saying, by releasing anything that would block our soul's impulse to evolve and to thrive, we enable the natural life affirming energy of our souls to flow. This is our daily work. Our daily work is forgiveness. Our daily work is not to hold on to things that really restrict our hearts, restrict our minds. Our daily work is to release. Our daily work is to participate in affirmative prayer. Our daily work is to meditate on what is possible, what is positive, so that anything that in the outer world, and there is so much in the outer world to constrict us and limit our soul's evolution, that must be released. and forgiveness, affirmative prayer, meditation allows us to do that. And then when we do that, when we participate in doing the work that we must do, we co-create with Spirit, the Spirit within us, to co-create a space for our happiness, our peace, our well-being, our joy. And so, as I noted last month, I participated in a wonderful conference, the first of its kind, people of African descent in New Thought, to come together for a celebration of our soul. And so the purpose of that conference, and I quote, was to celebrate the challenges that people of African descent have overcome and to recognize and honor their contributions to the New Thought movement, and to have an opportunity to present spiritual principles that can be used by anyone for manifesting dreams and aspirations and living more fully and productive lives. And by doing so, the world will be a better place for everyone. End of quote. It is not coincidence that this first People of African Descent conference was held at Unity Village, because Unity Village's history of acknowledging the need to do its own soul cleaning in order to co-create a space for well-being and peace and joy has been established. And actions have been taken and continue to be taken to ensure that Unity continues to live its word. The conference brought together people from so many large New Thought organizations, many of which I had never been consciously aware of. Unity World Headquarters, of course, Unity Worldwide Ministries, the Centers for Spiritual Living, the Universal Foundation for Better Living, Agape International Spiritual Center, Hillside International Ministries, the Johnny Coleman Theological Seminary, the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries, and the list goes on. And as I reflect on what the conference did, especially in setting the stage for us to be together for 4 days, it began with Amani, which means faith. Faith from Africa to America. And as I think about that first day, that first evening, an overwhelming sense of intergenerational love just overwhelms me. It still excites me. There was music, of course, it was dancing, as you can see in this representation in this picture on the slide. Music, dance, and singing, pouring of the libations to honor our ancestors, along with a powerful first evening keynote from Reverend James Trapp, who was the former CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries, who's now located in Sacramento, California. And the title of his talk was Free Your Soul, Unleash Your Life, and Uplift Our World. And in my view, freeing our soul, unleashing our life, lifting up our world speaks to how divine love works within us and through us. It involves the inner work that we all must do. It is living fully divine, fully human lives in this human incarnation on this earth. It's taking Jesus's example and using it as a means to unblock anything that is holding us back from being our best selves and contributing to the world in our own best possible ways. And in his opening address, James Trapp said, "It is making the decision, unleashing our souls, is making the decision to stop sinning." And when he said that, he quickly defined what he meant by sinning. He said, sin is self-inflicted nonsense. So when we stop self-inflicted nonsense, we begin to free our soul. We begin to unleash our lives and uplift our world. In other words, we begin our journey of celebrating our soul by tapping into our faith and stopping self-inflicted nonsense. And so then we use that faith and the faith in actions, such as creating just laws, creating just policies, demonstrations, and affirmative prayer, and to break every chain that has been or continues to be created to hold us back. People of African descent. And please know, when I say people of African descent, I'm talking about everyone. People of African descent know of the chains of bondage, of extermination, of forced labor camps, of wrongful imprisonment, of discrimination, of segregation, and the long list of injustices over the millennia. It's actually too long to continue to mention. We must all break the chains of self-inflicted nonsense. Because self-inflicted nonsense blocks our life-affirming energy of our souls. And so as I suggested, this conference brought together eloquent speakers from different New Thought organizations from around the world. And they all brought rich and varying perspectives on ways that our spiritual power has been used and continues to be used to dismantle racism, both within New Thought organizations as well as beyond spiritual movements. And not only did they share with us how spiritual principles have been used to dismantle racism and has been used to dismantle anti-Semitism, homophobia, and other isms, sexism. And that second day of the conference ended with a rousing keynote address in the evening by Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith from Agape International, located in Culver City, California. And he cued the band and the singers to come up with a powerful, energetic rendition of Ain't No Stopping Us Now, which was a classic 70s tune. So everyone, including yours truly, dancing in the aisles and singing because we were feeling the life-affirming energy of our souls. We were unleashing that life-affirming energy of our souls. And that life-affirming energy then brought us into the third day, which had a theme of the civil rights movement and the spiritual focus of that movement, the challenges of the movement, the triumphs of that movement. And one of the highlights of that day was a bus tour of some of the Black historical sites in the Kansas City area. Next slide. Reverend Sylvia Sumter was our very powerful speaker on the third day. And her evening keynote was centered around the poem by Langston Hughes, the title of which was The Negro Speaks of Rivers. And I'd like to share that poem with you right now. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood through human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathe in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids from it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. My friends, our souls, individually, collectively, have grown deep like the rivers. There is nothing that can separate us at the soul level. We must unblock anything in the outer, in the physical, that would keep us from our inherent connections at the soul level, and then celebrate that connection. Celebrating our soul. Next slide, Kyle. Closed with an eye to the future. You know, our souls have no beginning, they have no end, and we know that the future of our world lies in the youth. And we must do whatever is necessary to ensure that our youth understand their soul connections. The youth attending the conference provided presentations on the last day of the conference of their experiences. They created an original song that they performed, and it was powerful. The youth that you see in this slide are youth from the Johnny Coleman Academy in Chicago. And the stunning woman in this picture is an earlier picture of Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. She has now passed on into the full spiritual realm. The closing keynote speaker for that last day was Reverend Dr. Sheila McKiffin from Kingston, Jamaica, who is also the president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, the organization established in 1974 by Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. I believe that our souls, individually and collectively, must be nurtured in order to be celebrated. And the time for celebration is now. Yet in order to do that, in order to celebrate, we must do the spiritual work, as I have been indicating throughout this talk. We must do the divine love work. We must do the forgiveness work. Our souls are calling us to do this work because we are one. We are one spirit, one soul, one love. And now to reinforce our understanding of what we are being called to do in celebration, I invite you to listen once again to Ricky Byers and the song that she will be sharing with us. And you will hear the references to the soul and its importance in the song. The title of the song is In the Land of I Am. And so thank you. We release all self-inflicted nonsense. And when we do, we are able to celebrate our souls. Thank you so much.